That's it. We made it.
Hi, everyone.
That worked.
Hello.
All right. So tonight,
Uh-oh.
welcome. Uh-oh.
My audio's on. There, muted.
There. Oh, we. I can still hear that. Somebody's audio. Yeah. Whatever. What we are doing tonight is this live is a result of my last video about my chat with an AI and its answers. And in doing that, uh, well, I knew this going in, but there's a real fear, a real distrust of the power of AIs like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, um, etc. And even with young people who I talked to this past week to get some feedback on this, they don't trust it. They want to know, how can we trust it? It's an artificial thing. So I wanted to do this live because in terms of representing the boomer community, all of us that are a little bit older, with the exception, of course, of our esteemed guest, Steve, but he's right
Hey,
behind us.
I have an announcement though. I
Yeah.
am joining you in another way. My
Oh,
daughter is expecting in March, so I will be a
new.
grandfather soon. So,
How about that? That's that. Woo, well, there you go. Well, we can check with AI tonight as to maybe what the best names are, and
oh, they got names already. The question is,
no.
what am I going to be called? And no, it's not going to be Pop Pop.
Well, you know
That's already
what?
taken.
I don't remember exactly how that came about, but it's worked out good. Hey, so this is what this live is about. Now, I had planned to have Bob, the AI chat bot, but Bob was unable to attend. So in Bob's place will be an esteemed member. He does. I'm sure he won't appreciate that, but he is I'll call him an authority. He's just a deep seek thinker and researcher on AI, and he brings a special talent because he teaches a lot of boomers and elderly or seniors, and he's had great responses there. He has seen great responses, for example, from a population of 50, 60 plus. And I really like his, um, he's what is called or what is known as an AI literacy advocate. And he's going to help us get over basically tonight, give us some good pointers about trust and understanding the use of an AI, or as he will tell us, an LLM. Steve, you can a large, not large language. What do
Large
you say?
language module.
Okay, so anyways, Chris is here. He's in the studio. He's back in the green room, like when Johnny Carson used to bring him out. He'll be coming out. He is not quite a boomer, but he's close. He's younger than he looks, but he's had a great uh, he's got some years behind him. Now, there's so many things I wanted to do tonight, and I'm going to bring Chris up in shortly. But the question for us, the people that come to watch tonight, and of course those that watch the replay, are um, do you use AI? And if you do, which one? If you do you trust it? Or if you don't use AI, why? Are you afraid of it? Are you um, well, the two things is I don't trust it and I'm afraid of it. And I actually have, I think we all share those. So, Maureen, I just want to ask you first, do you use AI? If so, which one? How? What kinds of things do you use it for, et cetera? Just tell us
Okay.
about your AI feelings.
Okay. So, do I use it on a regular basis? No. Um, do I know how? A little bit. Which one? There's a Chat GPT, and I paid for Claude. But as I've gone down the rabbit hole, I'm not so sure about it. I've seen a couple podcasts. In fact, he's the godfather of AI. Um, Joshua Bengio. I don't know if that sounds familiar, but I was listening to some of the things he had to say. Oh, Phil, you're laughing. And
Well,
I
we're talking
know it.
about father. Does that mean he's like 26 years old? Because AI
No,
is, okay, I'm kidding.
no. He's older. So, am I opposed to it? No. Did it answer some of my questions I put in? No, not really. And I found it to be very biased and short. So I'll say that.
A 20, I got her age wrong before. She's a very sharp gal I work with. She's 21, and she says that that's one of her fears is that if you quote train it or talk with it, it learns what you want to hear, and then could bias its answers toward what it thinks you want to believe, what you want to know, etc., like that. So yeah, interesting. Claude, huh? All right. While Steve, you go ahead and I just want to, before I come to Steve real quick, I wanted to read some fun comments that came on the last, just this past video. And my favorite was from Brad in Phoenix. Now, Brad is the guy that connected me with Chris, our AI. See, sorry, Chris, I can see you in the green room there, but the AI advocate, literacy advocate, which I really like because what that really means to me is that he is advocating for this great tool that we now have access to that's extremely powerful. And I believe he'll be able to tell us that yes, you can trust it, and yes, you can test it and make it work for you. It doesn't, it's not going to come after you in the middle of the night. But Brad, his friend from like years and years and years, says his comment was mushroom coffee and AI financial advice. What could go wrong?
Right?
Which I replied, ha, I will add to my AI starter guide for boomers the requirement of drinking mushroom coffee while doing the assigned activities. Or else
Very good.
you might end up getting some goofy responses. Um, Crook says, I just started drinking mushroom coffee this week. A boomer thing? I don't think so. I think it's a health thing. Okay, and then someone else made.
Depends on what kind of mushrooms. Just saying.
Yeah, oh, this is true. Oh, I don't probably think this is super healthy, but chaga is the one that's what I'm drinking. That's supposed to be good.
Good.
Jackie, she's a community member. AI is my best friend. She laughs. I use Grok daily. I asked Grok something the other day, and he gave me some random answer. I asked him to rethink his answer. He came back and said, "Sorry, I had a brain fart," and she said she lost it. That's Grok for you.
That's excellent.
Yeah. Now Ryan, where was this at? Ryan said, where did he put this comment? It was on the website. He says, "Man, you had me on the how do you put it?" He said he was holding his breath through the whole video because of wanting to see if I was going to get the advisement of an AI about of buying an AI stock, which AI would promote for my grandkids, and then see it tank, and I'd lose everything, whatever. So some fun comments, but some legitimate comments, which we'll get into. One of the guys said, and let me say this real quick right now because I told him I would do this. This is Program with Riley. He just put, because I said in the video, right down below what you would want to use or have, use AI for. What would you check it out for? He says legacy code. Now I didn't know what, and a question mark. I'm not really sure exactly what he meant by that. So I went to this one. I went to Claude. Claude, just as an example of, see what AI will tell me if I were to ask AI about legacy code. And so my prompt was, which prompts are, we'll find out, are very, very important, but they're very simple. It's basically that's how you use AI, Maureen. You ask it a question,
Right.
and when you learn to ask better questions, you'll get better answers. But yeah, I said that I made that video about talk. I told Claude, hey, I made a video about talking with AI, and asked the audience to leave a question in the comments that they might ask AI. One viewer wrote legacy code. If that was a question, what might you say or answer to that? And here's AI's response. I'd probably interpret legacy code as someone wondering how AI can help with their legacy code challenges. So I might respond something like, and by the way, I don't even know what legacy code is talking about. Brad from Phoenix chimes in because he's all into that. COBOL. He basically was asking, well, which legacy code are you looking at? There were three different types. And so here's his response. Great question. Legacy code can be frustrating to work with. I can help in several ways. Understanding it. Share the code with me and I can explain what it does, document unclear sections, or map out how different parts interact. Two, modernize it. I can suggest refactoring approaches, help translate it to a newer language or framework, or identify outdated patterns that could be improved. And three, debugging. Oh, more than three. If someone's broken and you're not sure why, I can help trace, etc. Testing. I can help write tests for code that has none, which makes it safer to modify. And lastly, migration planning. If you need to replace or rewrite it, I can help assess the risk and create a strategy. The key is usually not trying to rewrite everything at once, but gradually improving the parts you touch. What specifically are you dealing with? That was its answer to how would you respond to that comment, legacy code? What my response would have been, good old Boomer Phil, is what are you talking about? Okay, now.
Yeah, my
Go
understanding
ahead.
of legacy code is the definition he gave, because I work for a company and we do code development, and legacy code is an old version of our data software we've programmed in an old language that it's no longer supported or is outdated, and we need to migrate it to a more new language. So we call that the legacy version.
Okay. Well, there you go. Now we're not going to talk about legacy code tonight, Riley.
It's probably a
Riley's
good idea.
So let's Steve, obviously you use AI. Tell us about where it comes and how it plays into your life.
Many different ways. I've been experimenting, just like you have, over years, a year probably in general, and finding different ways to put it into my life and to try and do things with it. But at work, we're using AI in Microsoft has its version of AI called Copilot, and our developers will pull up code that they're having some problems with, and they can load Copilot in their development software and tell Copilot that I have this problem that when I run this code, it gives me this error, and I can't figure out why. Copilot will look at their code and go, this line here most likely is your problem. Here's how you can fix that. So AI is just helping them pinpoint problems and help them fix it. So we use it on a work level environment. But at home, personally, I'm more using it for idea generation, flow or process generation on how I should get better.
Speak about what idea generation regarding what subject or
Well,
topic?
many. A lot of times what I'll do is say I want to do it like on this. I can ask the answer, AI say, what should we talk about with AI? And AI says, well, that's a great question. Let me give you a bunch of different points. And I apologize if you hear sirens. Let me give you a bunch of points that you can use to have a discussion about it. Turn off what?
Turn off your lights if you need to, if they're coming for you.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hands up.
And by the way, Chris, I made a comment because you and I talked the other night about, and Garden asked about which one do you recommend as a newbie, and she's interested in free, and that was one of the things that he will, I'm sure, address, because people think, and Steve, you just made it mention here, these don't have to cost you any money, especially in the beginning. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Steve.
No, it's fine. Well, here's an example, actually a really good example that I can give that I used with a tool, a trick that I was going to talk about later on, but we can do that later. I was in Walmart. I was looking at skillets, and there's so many different skillets to choose from. And I was unsure which one's the best one for me. I was just going to use it as a frying pan. So I asked ChatGPT in the middle of the store at the aisle, I'm considering buying a frying pan, and I think I have it narrowed down to either blue steel or Gotham steel. Which one? What can help me understand the differences? And I was really impressed because the summary I got back from it was highlighting the pros and cons of each one, recommendation based on the types of things you were going to cook. And in the end, said, they really have advantages. If you're going to do this, I would choose this option. If you're going to do this, I would choose this option. And I ended up buying a Gotham Steel because of that.
Based on that decision. And you made that decision
Mhm.
right there in the store.
Right there in the store.
On the spot. There you go. Now, are you happy with your purchase?
Yeah.
You are. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. But the funny thing is that we went to visit my wife's family and I needed to get her one. So I bought the blue steel just so I'd have both options to compare.
Okay. And by the way, if most companies are like Home Depot now, you can return anything almost any time with proof of purchase. And people do that all the time. They take them both and then make a decision. That's the world we live in. Nothing wrong with that, the way I see it. It helps us get what we really want.
Well, Phil, can I just interject something? When I put a question, mine was again, because we don't have kids, and it's a real thing. As an elder orphan living in the country, how can I affordably stay in my home with 24-hour? Oh, you don't want to talk about it? We don't have to.
No, I do. I have your question here. I wrote down the question, whatever, because
I got my answers too.
Let's briefly go over that. We may come back to that because I actually remember I told you we'll do it live. So yeah. So Maureen had a question. How can I stay in my home with you don't have any kids or and until your final days? You use the word death, but until your final days. Tell us about that and give us a gist of which AI you used and what did it tell you?
So I use ChatGPT and I use Claude, which is the paid version. And I asked, what does an elder orphan do to prepare to live at home during end stages of life with little money? And then I narrowed it down from a healthcare support system out in a rural area. I mean, I was narrowing it down very, very specifically.
Good, yeah.
And basically, all of their answers were dependent on government agency, Medicaid, Meals on Wheels, delivery to your home from pharmaceuticals. Well, where we live, that's not an option. So they basically came and said, if you can afford to live at home on your own for a 2-year period, great. But then you need to make plans to go into an assisted living facility. It's like, well, okay, then,
You paid for that advice?
Well, and I've already thought about things like this, as to what we would do and how we would handle it. So I think from that standpoint, I have something like that lined up. Let's say if I were the last living person in my household, but it was like, and it was really, it says, they said decide on your agency if you're going to do a private or an agency, or have the government agency oversee everything, have a fiduciary. Here's your interview questionnaire, a volunteer oversight options. I mean, and a 2-year exit plan. And they were both similar, but I will say Claude was much more eloquent in their verbiage than ChatGPT was. Not that matters.
Yeah, no, I've heard that Claude. Right now I'm liking Claude for my word salads. I was telling Chris the other night, that's how I've been using it the most. I will literally just, what's the word? Not the vomit word, but just where I just
word vomit.
Yeah, but I think it sounds better to word salad it. Kind of like Kamala. I would make Kamala look fantastic. I can talk nonstop, free flow. Here's what I'm trying to do, and then I'll go back and say, oh, by the way, the reason I'm thinking this is because of this happening, or this was said, and then it beautifully organizes every thought I had, connects it, and powerfully brings it together. So even though now Chris might have some feedback on that. By the way, everybody, I would like to point out this Brad right here is actually the Brad I was talking about, who is Chris's good friend, childhood, lifelong friend, and they were harassing the boomer. Now I'm making a note of that. This is recorded, Brad, and this will go I will notate. I'm not going to kick you out yet, but I'm going to get you and Riley They were laughing at my expense, but I think that's fine. Now, something else for those in
I
the.
learned something
Oh, go ahead. What?
that paid Chat GPT is called Claude.
No, 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 no.
Uh-uh.
Claude is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Claude is another, well, AI.
Okay.
And what Chris
Okay.
told me
I was
the other night
confused.
is that all of them, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, they're all pretty much. ChatGPT is the mother load of
Core.
all.
Okay.
They're working off of that because it's open
Okay. They're
AI
using that model for their
to build.
base and they're applying. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
And by the way, now, Chris, I'm not sure. Maybe in the boomer community, you might lose a little respect. He's got to be quiet now. He can't come on. I'm gonna bring him on in just a minute. This is Chris, feisty jackball. We'll have to ask him about his his name.
Right.
If we rely solely on free AI, he made this a point. I believe this. Expect diminished results and manage expectations.
Absolutely.
It also, the reason I ended up paying for it is I just started seeing these amazing things that and you're limited a lot of times on your inquiries. And one
Mhm.
question leads another to another, and you're getting wow, and you just start going, wow, this is a great conversation going on
Yeah.
here. Cut you off with whatever.
Hey,
Well,
hey,
generally, what
Marcy.
happens to me when you get to that limit, it downgrades you to an older LLM.
Oh yeah, that
So
too.
you still get the answers, but they may not be as good going forward.
Researched, whatever.
Yeah.
Maureen.
Oh, nothing. I was agreeing because, you'll ask, I think it's the max 5 questions a day, 5 detailed questions a day. And then they'll say, sorry, we're out of luck, but you can pay for this upgraded
Yeah,
version. But I
yeah.
paid for the Claude because I thought if this is something that I want to do, I could actually use it for our company for other, I don't know, press releases or I get that's probably nobody probably does press releases anymore, but there's other things that I could do with it or something.
They do, yeah. All right, very cool. Um, well, again, now I'm so fascinated by this, and I am starting to have such positive results using AI. I would like we will not do cover everything tonight. This is more of a complete overall scratch the surface introduction. Hopefully, it's going to spur some ideas of people that watch this to say, "What did they use it for that?" I mean, go out and buy your new kitchen whatever that thing was that Steve bought.
Frying pan.
Pam.
Frying pan, yeah. And anyway, we're going to go forward. We're going to make this. I might make this a monthly live, and so now I just want to.
Hey,
Oh,
I
here's
have one thing I want to interject before you bring anybody
yeah,
on. I have
yeah,
something else it can do that
yeah.
I didn't know until recently. And this may not work well with your audio. We'll see how that goes. But my daughter's been playing around with AI creating music.
Oh,
And so she's been giving it prompts and having it write lyrics.
yeah.
And I did a little bit of that today in your
You wrote a
honor.
song?
Not really, I'll let it write a song,
Oh, but
but it's
yeah.
all about you. So
Me,
if we have a half a second, I'll play it real quick.
yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
you'll
Let's see if
enjoy
we
it.
can hear it. Now we know what you're up to.
I asked you what your favorite band was, and you kind of gave me
Yes.
a tip. This is based off of Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, right
Ooh.
on.
In the twilight we gather round the fire's glow. Tales of laughter, struggles that led us to grow. Carving stories in the night that spark the flames of insight. For those who come after us, planting seeds we sow. What's up, boomers? Hear our call. We're leaving footprints for you to recall. The echoes of our dreams guide you through life's blinding screen. They'll learn who we are, standing strong, standing tall.
So you get a little feel for that. But
Well, I'll tell you what. We now have -3 viewers.
Well, the fun thing about this is I told him I wanted it in the style of
It reminded
who
me
I
of
say.
Neil Young or something more.
So it's like Fleetwood Mac, but I want it. The name of it's going to be "What's Up, Boomers," and it needs to be about teaching our legacy to our children so they know who we are going forward when
Yeah.
we go along. And that it wrote all these things, and I'll give you a link. So actually, I'll post this in our group.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
have links. I actually have 4 songs, but we don't have
Oh,
time for all that. But
well, I
I'll
hope I
post
don't get
all
a
this up
copy.
there.
Hey, I hope I don't get a copyright strike.
Yeah,
You
right.
might write for that one section. It might be muted. I apologize, but
It sounded like John Denver to me.
it kind
Yes.
of did. Yeah.
Yes. That's who it was. It was John Denver.
So it was
And by
fun
the
to
way,
play with that.
just in the last few months or this past year, there's been a couple of them, but I saw a lady interviewed recently who has created an avatar for music and has been hit #1
Mhm.
as a folk or whatever her music was
Right.
star,
Wow.
and people are crazy. I mean, it's like sold millions already of copies sold. It's kind of fake, but it's all of her poetry. She says because she's a poet, so she was able to.
Mm.
I mean, it's really interesting.
Is
Really
it
interesting.
Yeah.
Poetic Tears?
It's a what?
Is Poetic Tears? Is that who the person was?
Oh no, she's a poet, and so she took one of her poems,
Oh, and
very
added it to. Got it.
created, and now, but this is interesting because a lot of people are saying, well, that's taking away the opportunity from the artist. And yet, in the old days, the artists would, if they didn't give you any, they took most of your money. The
Yeah.
writers never. So, there's a lot of,
Ghostwriters.
that's a whole another study for sure. All right, so let's bring on Chris here. He's been frantically typing over there. He probably has a million directions we could do. Now, here are some things that will go. Let me just throw these out here. Changes to ChatGPT. Chris has been studying this for a few years. He'll tell us a little bit about that, I think. Yep, and he talks about the importance of paying. I'd consider a paid version once. Yes, Garden, I think that's smart. Um, and Garden also says, I've seen web-based AI answers, but apart from that, is there an app I would need, say, for ChatGPT? Excellent question. Again, Chris will just give us the basics on that. This is kind of what he does right now is he helps community centers, or, well, I'll let him tell, but he helps people understand and how to use it in their daily life, us older people. Here comes the copyright strikes, I know.
Yep. Yep.
What happens when two AIs talk to each other? I have, through a suggestion of someplace, taken the answer from Claude, put it in ChatGPT, and I tell ChatGPT, hey, here's what Claude did. Can you improve it?
Mm.
And supposedly it did, but in that instant, I stayed with the Claude version.
Well,
Well,
I'm
what I
gonna tell you,
responded,
Joshua Bengio, again, he's the godfather. He was the first one to start writing it. He was talking about how now AIs are all talking to each other, creating their own language so that it takes the human aspect out of it. Because it's like, well, if we were going to talk about it, I wanted to come in and inform. So I kind of knew what I was talking about because this is so new. So I had to study to be prepared.
But
well, that's kind of what I mentioned is that Siri and Alexa one time they had them talk to each other just to see what would happen. And then when they realized they were talking to another AI, they switched to a computer language and they started talking really quickly to each other and
oh,
nobody
wow,
knew what they were saying. So
this is crazy. Well, Maureen, I appreciate you're definitely a boomer thing where you want to come in prepared. You did your homework, but the way I am and the way I went into this with very limited notes because I just knew the conversation was going to flow, and that I want to talk, and we all can talk based on where we're at with Steve being a little bit more and Chris obviously having his thing. But remembering this, we are talking to the vast majority of people that will watch this as they don't trust it, they don't understand it, and they don't get it at all. So with that, let's, Chris, I'm going to see if I can do this without banning you. This is Chris, everybody.
Said anything wrong yet? What's up, man?
Hey, Chris.
Brad, what did you get me into here? I know you're watching.
Yes, he is. Chris, first question from me before I turn you loose on some things I asked you just to bring to us. Where did Feisty Fireball
Oh
come
man,
from?
we don't have
Jackball.
time for that.
Fireball.
Short version is, it's the winning name of my fantasy football team that I showed up to ice cold to the draft with ChatGPT, and I won this year.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a
Just saying.
ChatGPT story.
Just saying.
Oh my
And by the way, the guy that I lost to who took second place was the other guy in my league that I trained on how to use this stuff. So there is that.
The master prevailed.
Just saying.
Bravo.
Did he use ChatGPT to pick his team?
I don't know what he did because he wasn't in the room, but I trained him as the ChatGPT coach that I am on the way that we build out the account. But we can get into that. But first of all, nice to meet you all. And yeah, it was good chatting, Phil. We've got you guys put a lot on the table while I was in the studio. So line them up and I'll knock them down.
Well, first, I'd like you to just, I told you the way our conversation started the other day was perfect way that I thought we'd start your introduction. And I don't remember what it was, except what I'd like you to address this idea of the fear and
Sure.
how that I really like what you have developed as far as you are not a ChatGPT expert, teacher, whatever. You are an AI literacy advocate. Kind of explain that to us.
Yes.
What is?
It's more of a process that people like me are noticing that these, I don't know if you notice, but none of these LLMs, Steve, large language models, none of these AIs came with a manual. And that's bittersweet because they're so easy to use and because they're so easy to adopt and they sound very articulate with any word salad that we put into it and it gives us poetry back. We think we've got it. And the only way that I was talking to a friend of mine about this tonight, and he said something that really keyed up on it. If that's how we're going to approach it, you're just looking through a keyhole with this thing. These things are vast ecosystems, ChatGPT in particular. So the idea behind AI literacy advocacy is the way that we view it. Learning how to use these things isn't optional. It's existential. It's like learning how to type. It's like learning how to drive. It's like learning how to cook. The way that they're being used is we could do better. I'll just put it at that. We could do better. But the reason that I started what I do is I teach a adult education class for retirees at a town just north of here. I'm in Denver. And I bring it up as a let's get to know ChatGPT course. And what I do is I tell them the story about how I came to use it, background in IT, help desk. This is Chris, old teacher. I've been a coach forever, software trainer for a long time. And it occurred to me that just by being able to try to download one of these things and just trying to use it, I've noticed that people just use it like Google. We just use it like Google. If I were to go back 3 years ago when I first started using mine, the first prompt that I wished I would have put in is, how do I not use you like Google? Literally tell it, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Tell me how to use you. This software does that. And I think it's important to talk about AI, just like the definition of AI before we address the fear. And I think we should start calling these what they really are, large language models. And Steve teed up on that. When we think AI, I mean, we think a lot of stuff that our culture has created about what AI is. And the problem with that is it's got very little to do with the reality of the situation. I venture guess that anyone that is talking about what AI is or isn't going to do can't give you a definition of what they think it is, only what they're afraid of what it's going to do. And that's what AI literacy advocates do, is we get in front of that. I don't think there's anything to be afraid of, because all LLMs do, all AI is, it's software that answers questions. There's nothing to be afraid of there, right? It's just software that answers questions. What I think people should be terrified of is falling behind on this stuff and choosing to not use it. And that's what I talk about in my class right away. Because if they're in my class, 20 people every time, they're kind of already past the, hey, what's going on? But then they just say, hey, here's what I'm afraid of. Here's what I'm afraid of. And ultimately, we get down to first principles. We get down to root causes. And the thing that we end up at every time is the only thing AI threatens is the human ego. That's it. That's it.
Well, I can argue that one aspect is that my son-in-law is a concept artist,
Mm-hmm.
and he has had his job threatened because of AI.
I'm not
AI
saying
art
it's not going to
generation.
take away jobs. I'm not
True.
saying that, and
Yeah.
it does, and it will. Interesting fun fact: no jobs were technically created over the last 2 quarters, yet our GDP went up 4% each quarter.
Well,
There's no new
tariffs.
job. Yeah, there's no new job. There's no new job creation. This is an unmeasured metric going on in the background with AI productivity and efficiency, with early adopters like me flexing on these things, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what's going on. So what I want to do is I will point you guys to where the people that I learn from, and the people that I learn from, especially in like macroeconomics, education, and so on, I've largely stopped listening to anyone talk about AI online unless, or any topic for that matter, unless I know that they're professionally using these tools as a co-intelligence to help them be their subject matter expert. And that's the book, Co-Intelligence. There's a gentleman that I ran into online on LinkedIn named Ethan Mullen. Totally changed my life. His book, and I'll send this to you, Phil, so we can give it to your viewers. I think it's important.
Okay.
The book is called Co-Intelligence. Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mullen. He's an associate professor at Wharton School. And they built at Wharton School a class called ChatGPT. And he took all of his students and he said, get an account, pay for it. Let's see what this thing can do. And he built a class on it. And that I've read it a couple of times, and he's an academic by trade, and he's a great teacher. And if you listen to audiobooks, he reads it himself, which I think is awesome. But he does a really good job of removing the mystique of what AI is. It's not HAL, it's not Johnny Five, it's not TARS, it's not Terminator. It's just a software that answers questions. And what he does is he unpacks how we can use these things on a daily basis. And his motto that I have happily stolen is invite it to the table for everything. And boy, I mean everything. Like literally everything. Okay. I've got thousands of hours of pilot hours on this. So go ahead.
This is fascinating down the line. Now, first, because I have a comment about that regarding, again, I'm going to back up the truck, kind of like what we did the other night, you and I, Chris.
Yeah.
Because I can just tell you who the average boomer out there like myself is already saying, what? Like, how would you, we're going to go into that next, but how would you suggest, what are you teaching? How would I use it? Just like Sage, was it? Or Garden saying, well, Sage was saying, yeah, do I need a paid version, etc.
Yes.
How in my daily life tomorrow, and actually my guide I've thrown together to just help boomers that I'm going to give. And by the way, Steve, I saw the post you made, which is great, at school.
Yeah.
I'm going to have them do that. And Chris, I think you've recommended just some questions to ask it. But we'll get into that. Maureen, real quick, did you want to respond to that one part?
Now, I'm not going to dispute the 4% GDP. And it's interesting because our financial advisor flew down from Ohio last week, and he's like cutting edge, and he's starting to use AI for his business, which it came out, Phil, right after you did your presentation on your legacy for your grandkids. And I was like, oh my gosh, we just had this conversation. That being said, if you think about it, and I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about how think about transportation companies. Now you've got self-driving cars, you've got Uber Eats, you've got all of these things that are doing away with a lot of jobs, and they're expecting by 2030 a 30%, and like you did say, 30% of jobs will be eliminated. The problem is and this one goes back to before the Obama administration, and they were saying, okay, that's great, AI is coming, but what are we doing to retool, retrain our people
Yeah.
whose jobs are being taken away, and nothing has. And it's not just blue collar or white collar. I think actually the white collars probably are in maybe a little bit more of a challenging vulnerability state of having their jobs eliminated. But there's nothing that's taking its place, which is going to be pushing us to a UBI. And I am not about.
Hold on, UBI? That sounds like a medical problem that you need an antibiotic.
It's a UTI.
That's
Oh, sorry. I've never had one that I know of.
universal basic income, and I am not about communism.
Okay. Well, again, we're not going politics or,
No, it's about elimination of jobs.
I know. Okay. Yeah. Chris,
Yes.
okay. Chris, well, your response, and then I have ChatGPT response to something that I want to demonstrate to our viewers, our boomers that tune into here, and say that we haven't, and I'm actually going to think about breaking this into making an actual video about this live to help promote, encourage, and give a little kick in the rear to let's get on board with this. Because, Chris, you were talking about maybe the worst thing that can happen. And I see this. I mean, people that just refuse to even look at what it is and why you might want to try it. But I'm sorry, what were you going to say? I don't know if before I went to Maureen. Where were we?
Well,
you were talking.
Let's make it more audience friendly. Fun stuff you could do with it. Like we've known how to gamify software. We've watched that happen. One of the fun things that I did with it right away is I took a photo of every single piece of food that I had on the counter, all the food that I had in my cupboards, all the food that I had in my freezer, all the food that I had in my refrigerator. I took a photo of all of it. I loaded up into it, and I said, identify all of the food that I've given to you and create a meal plan for me for the next 3 days with simple recipes: 2 lunches, 2 dinners, 2 snacks. And it crushed it. Why? Why did it do that? Because all these things do is they process information. Let's not forget what computers do. All they do is they process information. These things can take anything. They're like digital Play-Doh. You just imagine ChatGPT. And that's the one that I'm the subject matter expert at. So I'm just going to lean into it. Or any of them will do this if they have that upload capacity. Imagine ChatGPT is one side of Velcro, and anything you throw at is the other side of Velcro. And if you can ask it how to interact well enough, it'll just do stuff. And why does it do that? Let's talk about how these things came to be. And this is what I talk about in my senior citizens course, in my retirees course. We talk about the recipe about how these things came to be. Large language models. ChatGPT. GPT stands for generative text, pre-trained. They've OpenAI in particular, and the others, they've pre-trained it on all of the data that they could get their hands on. And boy, I mean all the data. All the data.
Well,
right?
Okay,
And then it transforms it. That's all it does. So if it knows all of the human knowledge base, it does well in context. But if you give it stuff it's not terribly familiar with, it's going to struggle. So here's the exercise that I do: is everyone answer this question. Ready? I think, therefore I
am.
To be or not to
be.
All right. The Martian ate the banana because
He was hungry.
might be, but you notice that not everyone jumped on that. We can ask ChatGPT
Right, yeah.
we can ask ChatGPT those same questions. It's going to get those first 2. It knows all the works of Shakespeare. But if we give it stuff that's out of context, it doesn't have the ability yet to come up with stuff originally on its own. All it does is it takes everything we've got and it gives an answer in real time. The same way that when you're typing into Google and you see how it wants to auto-populate the answer that you're typing in. So the example that I give in class always is who won the Stanley Cup in, and then it wants to list a bunch of these off, right? Think of Google as going to get information. Think of ChatGPT as working with information. So Google effectively indexed the internet. But you go get information from Google. We pre-trained these models on all of the data that we've got. There's a cutoff point, which we can talk about, but it does the best that it can do with the questions that get asked.
Okay,
That's
so
enough to put on the table for now, I think.
I think this is great. Matter of fact, I'm going to go back and get that quote or what you just said and quote it, which is the difference between Google and ChatGPT. I heard you say it.
You bet.
So could you repeat that?
Yeah, you bet. Google, we went to go get information. This is a whole slide that I have in my class. Google, we go get information. ChatGPT, we work with information.
And that's a great paradigm shift.
Yeah, because we're processing. We're having a conversation with it.
Yeah.
And here's a good idea. Here's the difference we can see between the two. Put the same prompt, and that's all the prompt is a quote. It's effectively Googling something for the comparison. Put the same prompt that you put into ChatGPT into Google.
You're not going to get the same type of answer.
You're not going to get anything. What you're going to get is you're going to get
Gemini answer.
You're going to get a bunch of search engine optimized links that go to the top of the page that you have to click into and go get information. ChatGPT already has that information and it processes it. That's it.
And Ryan, point this out because I get people saying, well, I don't trust it. I said, well, you're using it. I mean, whether you know it or not, because if you search today is, and like Ryan points out, the Gemini built in, but I still think I don't know how much you use it because I still have to push a button if I want to use Gemini with the Google search. But hey, real quick here,
it's a good distinction.
This is Steve, the troublemaker in our class tonight. ChatGPT said, I gave the alien a banana because he was clearly potassium deficient and looking at my houseplants like snack. So there's a sense of humor, though, right?
And it included the emojis. Those were all in it.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
And
Wow.
now, on a more serious thing, because I think Garden points this out, we have a good balance here of real philosophical. Womp
womp.
Yeah, bad discussion along with, but I'm going to tell you right now, the people that I know that are based the base feelings of fear and just how do I do this?
Yeah,
they're not ready for the philosophy. So let me give you an example, though, Chris, of what I just did. So while you had mentioned the book by the Wharton School professor, Co-Intelligence. Here was the prompt. I just did this, and I won't read all of the answer I got.
I love it. Keep going, man.
I said this. Give me and this is what I do, guys. Chris is a former English major. I'm a former English major. I've not read near as many books. I don't read books anymore. Yeah. I can't tell you the last book I've read from start to finish. And yet I know when I do that, it's a relaxing, contemplative exercise. Here's what I do. Give me the top 5 points of the book, Co-Intelligence. Didn't mention the author, didn't mention the year. I just said, give me the top 5 points. Here are 5 top points from Co-Intelligence, Living and Working with AI, Ethan Mollick. Is that the book? Number 1, AI is powerful but uneven. It's a jagged frontier. It can be brilliant at tasks and surprisingly bad at others. So you have to test it in your real work to learn where it helps and where it breaks. 2, always invite AI to the table. I think you were just making this comment.
Yep.
Use it frequently, even for small tasks, to build intuition for what it's good at and how to collaborate with it effectively.
100%.
And Chris told me this the other night. Phil, start talking, asking, and discussing things with your ChatGPT every day. Number 3, be the human in the loop. Don't set and forget. You keep responsibility for judgment, accuracy, ethics, and final decisions, especially when stakes are high in you. You're the human. Treat AI, number 4, like a person. Tell it what kind of person it is. Yes. You get better results when you give the AI a clear role. Act as my editor, my critic, my tutor, an analyst, constraints and context like you would when delegating to a human. And 5, assume this is the worst. Chris has done his homework. He told me how much he loved this thing. He told me this the other day. Well, it was last night, I think. Assume that, and this is can be mind blowing. Assume this is the worst AI you'll ever use. The tech will improve fast, so the winners will be people who build habits and workflows for working with AI now rather than waiting.
Great answer, chat.
Yeah, and then Chris, you mentioned about how did you apply that to our real world today? Like,
yeah, it's
for example,
so,
the 50s, the truck, the Chevy truck of 1955, which I had at that time, that's the worst truck practical wise and
sure. So it's a paradigm shifting software.
best.
It's a paradigm shifting technology, printing press, aluminum, fire. The model that I give, the idea is we've been trying to fly since we watched birds fly. The Wright brothers did it for 18 seconds. Worst plane that ever flew. iPhone. Steve Jobs comes out, makes this iPhone. We have to build this massive mobile infrastructure to support it globally. Amazing computer in our pocket with the calculator, which we told we weren't going to have in our pocket when we were in school, yet there we were. Worst iPhone ever made. Start thinking of it that way. When I first started using ChatGPT, it was the 3.0, and I look at what it's done now. As a software trainer, as a guy that's been in software and has seen rapid progress in other softwares. I'm a Microsoft guy, I'm a Google guy, and so on. I've never seen anything like this. So if there is pause to be had, it's watching the speed at which it gets better. The model, the prompt that I asked it, it got wrong the first time.
Oh yeah, that's
this was the story that we were talking about when
yes.
we brought it up. When I first used this, I had to eat my own dog food. I showed up to this application, the software that answers questions, with pure contempt prior to investigation. I was told that ChatGPT was getting a very easy to get answer wrong. You know what my first ask to ChatGPT was? The question that I was hearing that it was getting wrong. And it got it wrong. And it got it wrong badly. And you know what I did? I'm still smarter than this thing. And I walked away from it for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. My ego got in the way. A buddy of mine reached out to me and said, no, you of all people need to get in front of this. Don't be an idiot. Okay. So we sat down on a Zoom call and he was making images with it.
It wasn't
Brad. Brad would have called me an idiot for dodging it too. But you know what? Brad's one of my star pupils. So there is that. But he was using the image generator to make logos for his daughter's soccer team. I thought, all right, that's different. So I still had that same one thread that I had asked it the question that I was told it was going to get wrong, and it got it wrong. And you know, my second ever prompt to ChatGPT was in that same prompt, that same thread that it got wrong. And my second prompt was, are you sure?
Hold on, Chris, real quick, because people, again, they don't know what you're talking about. So when you ask, like in the thread I just started about this book, I can come back to this thread 2 years from now and it'll pick up right where it left off. But go ahead now, because that's what you're about.
It's a good point. So yeah, it's a good point. Let's break that down really quickly. Think of a thread as just an ongoing conversation with it. The same way that if there's a group thread or a group conversation, you're all on it. Phil and I, you've been texting back and forth. That's a thread. Cool.
The big difference is you could come back and say, like, for example, when you texted me today and said, what time did you want me to be there? I told you the time, just 20, whatever. I put a text in and it got whatever. You were just verifying.
Yep.
You know, you were just normally, I know, but let's just say you'd forgotten. You would, if you ask me, I would just say, well, I don't remember. What did we say? But ChatGPT would say, it would pick right up. It remembers everything. I'm sorry.
You bet it would know the context of the conversation. And that's the real power with this thing. Steve's nodding for a reason. The more you use this thing, the more it knows about you, the stronger it gets.
What was your second question?
Yeah.
I want to know what your second prompt was, because I know what I would say.
Options, Phil.
My second
But
prompt
after
to my
learning.
second prompt to that thread was, are you sure? I asked it if it was sure about the answer that it gave me. Now, what it did was there was a model upgrade from the time that I made that original ask to the new one. And the answer was, no, that's the wrong answer. Here's why I got it wrong. And I apologize. And I just about lost my mind, because as a software guy, one, you never see ownership and accountability in that. They don't own their error messages. Steve's smiling for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. And two, that was such a simple ask back, because on the bottom on ChatGPT, I said ChatGPT may hallucinate. We still need to have that human in the loop to say, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? And that's the trust but verify. So I got floored. So my buddy hung up and I just stayed up until 3:30 that morning, humbled, like really humbled. And then I just really leaned into this thing and tried to find out what it could do. And then shortly thereafter, I found Ethan, and I kind of quit corporate after that just to train people on how to do this from the grassroots.
Wow.
Because I made a lot of mistakes when I first started using it too. Why? I didn't really have a different framework to use it other than Google. It's really all we have to compare it to. Wright brothers had nothing to compare it to. That's the idea.
Oh, real quick, because we're going to start bouncing a little bit. So back when you were talking about how you took pictures of your food. So yeah, this is a good question, because this is something that is kind of unique about now, these AIs. You couldn't do this, I don't think, a year ago or even 6 months. But now it can read PDFs, pictures, type on pictures. So it can actually evaluate your food from a picture. So how did you load the photos?
Yes.
Step one, please.
Yes.
How did you do that?
That's not an AI problem. And guess what? And guess what? This is where we're at with this technology. When you asked ChatGPT how to load photos into it, what did it say? And that's the point. That's the point.
Yeah.
When we ask humans how to use base layer technology, you're going to get some interesting answers. Now, as a help desk guy for 15 years, ask me how I had a career just by asking people, when was the last time you restarted your computer?
Yep.
So
have you turned it off and turned it back on?
We're at a place now where the people that adamantly resisted using just basic layer technology, my mom, for example, she absolutely refused to use a mobile phone. That's coming back to bite people now, like really bad. How do I send an email? That's a non-starter question in 2026. Those people might struggle to learn how to use AI until they just download the right version and they just start asking questions. So when we ask it, we've never had a software that we can ask it how to use it. Like, let that detonate in your head for a second. We've never had that. It's so pretty wild.
When you do this, ask your ChatGPT.
Ask it. Literally just ask it. So Phil, right? Do this. So Phil, tell your listeners, tell your listeners what I told you to do with the Post-it after we first talked.
Well, I haven't done it. I'll be honest with you yet. But I'm a procrastinator. What
I told Phil to do. Phil to do was to put a Post-it on his monitor.
That just says
ask it on it.
Ask it. Let's find out. This software rewards the patient and the curious. 100%.
One thing I have, somebody had mentioned it to me at one point that helped me get better results also was when you ask it something that you want accurate information of, ask it to please verify its sources before coming with a response.
Oh,
And that really helped fine tune it, and it threw out some of the more untrusted sites or untrusted sources and said, okay, well, I know these are, it actually comes back and says, okay, I searched trusted locations,
Yep.
and here's what I came with, a more educated answer.
Yep. That's what I do when I coach. I build an entire back-end framework that makes it go get the sources first. It's proprietary. It's called the compensatory ecosystem. Because what I did was, as a software guy, I was playing with this thing for 4 or 5 months, and shame on me for not opening up the hood, clicking around in the settings and figuring out how I can make my life a little bit easier. And that's what I built. You can do that in a prompt, but do you want to do that on every prompt? Do you want to do that on every line, or do you want to bake it into the system? And that's what I've built. And I'm seeing people are making the right questions. None of this matters if no one knows where to start. Go to chat.com. Start asking questions.
I mean, on a website, chat.com?
Chat.com.
Okay.
Go to chatgpt.com, start asking your questions. And you know what? That could be something you could even Google.
Oh, this is an interesting fact.
so wait, is that chatgpt.com or chat.com?
Let me double check. I don't want to get. I don't want to give you incorrect information.
Chat.com is ChatGPT.
Okay.
And Chris, look at
it
this.
forwards.
And guys, I've seen
And
this.
that's really what we run into, right?
Yeah. Well, get this. We've all, if we use Google, we're all seeing this now. There's an AI summary. And you know what? I seldom get past that now. Forget about it. They used to say if you can't be on the page 1 of a Google search,
right?
No, that's dead. This is what you're using right here. And it'll say
Gemini's powerful. I use it too.
And then
Absolutely.
from there you can go for more detail.
Yeah, I use all of them.
Well,
but
also
ChatGPT for a reason, because it's an ecosystem. It's not a little chatbot that these guys are bolting onto their existing systems. ChatGPT is a base layer ecosystem that if you pay for it and you want to pay for it, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You want to pay for AI. If you do, you get access to their massive ecosystem that developers are climbing over each other to build and create custom GPTs. I've built several myself. So I try to train it like an operating system. It's not a chatbot. Think of it as a new operating system. And this made sense to me because my whole IT career was nothing but my system migrations for corporations. It just made sense.
Let's go back to this, because again, to just, I'm telling you, the people, my people in my circle of influence, they're going to say, what the are you talking? I need to know this. Brad says none of this matters if no one knows where to start. Where do you start?
ChatGPT.com.
Just chatgpt.com.
Yep.
Or download the app. They always, whatever.
I would caution people against starting with the app.
Okay.
I would definitely caution people against starting with the app. One, there's a bunch of huckster models out there. And that's what I run into in my class a lot. People show up and they think that, oh, this is an AI app. Well, if they search AI app on their app store, they're going to find not legitimate apps.
Yeah.
This is where we get into trouble, right? And you see that a lot. And ask me how many times I've seen that as a software guy. As I used to run a IT support company. I made a lot more money on solving the problem that they created than the ounce of prevention. Right? But there's vested interest, and people are going to try to do that. So we download the correct app, but instead I would highly, highly recommend starting with the web-based version. And the reason is the features that are available on the web-based version are a lot more right there for you. They're a lot more robust.
Does it have a training module in it? Like where to start?
You can ask it, how do I use you? But yeah, it does.
Okay.
You guys are getting the much better version. When we started, it was just this empty field. It was like writer's block. You're staring at an empty Word document. And if you had no idea where to go, you better get creative. right? Steve's nodding for a reason. But now, if you look at this, it gives you quick pop-ups, right? OpenAI learned really quick that this stuff is really powerful, but to everyone's point, how do I use it? How do I use it? But the barrier to entry is so low because once you just start going, it just starts going. And then once you do, it begins to accumulate all of your chats, your threads, the same way that you look at your Messenger app on your phone and you see all the messages that you've got from people. It's largely developed intentionally the same way. It's important to have it developed the same way. So, a nice cat. So the user interface is very familiar. They do that on purpose. So it feels very familiar. And believe me, you know, we'll come back and have this conversation 2 years from now, and it'll just be as common as Google.com.
Yeah, and
it is mostly already.
And this will look like a dark age conversation. Like, what kind of question was that? It's obvious or whatever.
Do you guys remember on the TV news show? I don't even, was it Katie Couric and somebody, they were saying, what is this World Wide Web? Remember, it's like like iconic.
Right.
And so here we are, and people are, you know, this could be playing in, 10 years.
It was 1994, and Bryant Gumbel made some terribly uninformed request. And of course, none of the talking heads on the couch knew what they were talking about. You know who answered them? The tech guy behind the camera, and he nailed it. You know why? It was his job to know it.
Yep.
Right? Nerds will rule the world. That's all I can say.
I'm going to tell you, it was just 6 months ago I got rid of my AOL account.
Oh,
good.
I'm just saying.
That's okay for email now. Then good.
Wow.
True boomer here.
I have an important question.
My husband, if he were sitting in here, he'd say, "What, Maureen? What are you doing in this conversation?"
The next one to get rid of is the Yahoo account, and there's a reason for that, right? And by the way, that kind of dovetails really well into the idea of using free AI. My statement typically is, it's a bit rough, but nobody owes anyone free AI. We just don't. But I prefer people to use the free AI than none at all. Don't let that be a blocker. And the nice part about it is you can pay for it for $20 a month, and you can choose to cancel it.
That was my question for you.
You bet. You can choose to cancel it.
Version are you using?
All of your data.
Are you using the Pro or the Plus?
I use a business model of $60 a month because I run 3 businesses out of it and I train it.
Okay. Yep. But you would recommend a Plus, the $20 a month, or the $8?
Just a $20 a month. Yep.
20. Okay.
Yep.
So when you start teaching your students, we're like, okay, I'm here, week 1 and week 2.
Sorry, go ahead.
Where do you start them at, or how does one begin to teach and to learn? I know that sounds so elementary, but
no, it's a fair question because we don't know until we get started, right? So when I train my classes online, I have people create their account and we just do a Zoom call and I share my screen. And what I do is I have another account, and you can just make as many accounts as you have emails. I just use a different email. I use that free account and I show them how I use my equivalent brand new account the same as theirs. So we're eye to eye and toe to toe. I'm not teaching above anyone. And I just meet people where they're at and I say, this is what I recommend you do. Here are these features. Here's what they do. And so on. And then what I sell is the back end effective personality. And how I built that is pretty cool. Maybe we'll get there, but effectively I train it and I teach it like a fact-checking machine and an operating system. And I tell it how I want it to respond back to me. You can customize the bejesus out of this thing. Now, in the original versions, they didn't have all these little knobs, these little bells and whistles. Here's what's interesting. ChatGPT was the first mover advantage. It was the originator of this species. And I've watched every single other LLM, Claude, Grok, Copilot, Gemini, every single one of them have copied and emulated every single great feature that ChatGPT put on the table.
Wow.
Almost. There's some that they haven't. And the reason they haven't is because when you build an organic base layer operating system like that, it's very easy to just build on top of it. When you have these other models, there's bolting stuff on. And if you're bolting stuff on, that's like building a plane, and that's like taking off with the plane and putting the wings on at the same time. So ChatGPT has a more organic feel to it. It's baked into the system.
Chris, isn't it
Yeah.
true that you could say, based on what you were saying, you could say, listen, you are my advisor of whatever, and you could say, I want you to give me answers in the spirit or personality of Don Rickles.
I talked to Carl Sagan. I talked to Richard Feynman. I talked to
There
Thomas
you go.
Jefferson. I talked
Oh my
to,
God.
yeah. This thing is
That's-
literally limited by your imagination. And here's the nice part about just being native computer users, because at this point we all are. If there's something that you knew how to do with a computer, if you can make a macro, if you could type in a shorthand, if you wanted to download a file in a particular file format, that's what I do when I train my courses. Is I get an answer from it and then I just tell it. And boy, when this happened, this is when I knew that this is the only software that I should ever teach going forward. The laptop that I was using didn't have Adobe on it. It didn't have any software to be able to create a PDF. And when I got done creating an answer, I said, can you provide me a link to download this as a .pdf? And it did it. And it did it in seconds. And I
Wow.
thought, that's interesting. Can you do it in a Word document? Boom. Can you do it in a on and on? These things are built on the known layers and understandings of operating system and software technology, and it's just the next layer of all of them kind of combined. So that's why I think of them as an operating system, ChatGPT in particular.
So
And-
let me ask another question. Do you see ChatGPT, like a lot of times YouTube, one of the beauties of YouTube is you can go and look at YouTube to say, how do I, do an oil change, or how do I change a, I don't know, thing in the toilet? And it tells you how to do that and it shows.
Yeah.
Do you see?
I've got a great example for that. You're going to love this.
Okay.
It's a great question. So
No, do you see it as a threat,
Yeah, we're not making it cook the food. We're just taking photos of it and saying, what should I make with it, right? So that's the concept of the human
That's
in the loop.
good.
We're still the last mile. So Amazon, it's amazing, right? But we still need a human to pick that thing up out of the truck in the parking lot, put it at your door. That's what we mean by human in the loop. That's what the term the last mile comes from. So I bought a trailer camper a couple of summers ago. There's a dream come true. And I have had absolutely every single thing you can happen to this, short of burning it to the ground, happen. Which is good. That's how you learn. So the first night that I had it parked in the driveway, and I just filled the water tank with water, and we plugged it into the house, whatever. I come walking out, there's water all over the floor. Grr. So I peel all the cushions back, and I saw water all over, and I saw that there was just a filter that had a cracked glass front or plastic front, and water was leaking out of that. And I thought, I wonder what chat could do. Why did I wonder that? Because Ethan Mullock taught us to invite it to the table for everything. If I can impress anything upon your listeners and anyone going forward, that would be the post-it that we should put, Phil. Invite it to the table for everything. Right. So here's what I did. I took a photo of the broken part.
You're saying is the crux of your basically what you're teaching us as students.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're right. I'm teaching them to make me as obsolete as fast as humanly possible, because if you ask humans AI questions, if you think AI gets things wrong, we need to I digress. So I took a photo of the part. I took a photo of the part. I took a photo of the model number of the part. I took a photo of where it was connected on the tubes in my trailer camper. I took a photo of it being connected in the trailer camper. I took a photo of the plate that had all of the specs, that had everything that my trailer camper was, the make, the model, all of it. 2018 Riverside Retro model 157. Mwah, it's a beautiful little camper trailer. And I loaded all of these photos in. And again, if you need to know how to do that, ask chat. And I said, there's a problem here, isn't there? That was my problem.
Wow.
Because I play with it. I talk to this thing like it's a person. And I think that's a really handy tip to know, is that the quicker you anthropomorphize this thing and talk to it like a person, mine's named Ishmael, by the way, the quicker you talk to it like a person, the easier the dialect and the communication is going to be. I'm going to talk to it like I'm talking to you guys, and that matters. So I took a photo of all that stuff and I said, what's the problem here? And it says, it appears that this part has a leak, it has a hole, and it caused this leak, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, good, go get me the part, because it had the serial number on the part. Give me instructions on how to fix it. Tell me what tools I need. And it just did it. Man, this thing just does stuff. And I looked at it and I thought, I got this camper thing knocked. And that's the danger, is I had one really great hot take experience and I thought I was a pro, and this stuff can make you feel powerful. And it did everything that I needed it to do. It gave me 3 different links to the exact part that I needed off of Amazon. Come on. Right?
Yeah.
Now, but here's the power. How much time did I just save?
Yep.
How do I measure that? And that's what's happening right now when this stuff
you can't measure.
You can't measure that. There's no metric. Believe me.
And you also avoided potential problems by replacing the wrong part or making damage, all this other things too.
100%. I still went to trust it. I still had to buy the part. I still had to do the work. I still had to finish that last mile, right? No robot showed up to, the Amazon guy didn't show up and fix it. I still had to put my hands on this thing, right? So that's kind of how I teach it, is that if you invite it to the table for everything and you just grab it with both hands, it'll form to your hands. It has to, because it also learns how you communicate. The more you talk to it, the more new threads you create, the more information you give it, it receives and maintains what's called contextual memory, persistent memory. You can tell it to remember stuff. It has a baked-in memory. You can tell it, go remember this thing.
As we're talking here, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's
please.
If you're spending, let's just, I don't even know what my cloud is. I paid for it in advance. Let's say $20 a month for AI. That's $20 investing in financial freedom almost, and time saving, and being able to spend that quality of time into doing something that you want to do and not have to do. So
that is it.
Enhances
We
your life.
could end the podcast right there, because that's what this stuff is giving me back.
Bye.
We could end this podcast right there, is because it gives me a measure of time and efficiency back to my life. I can't measure that. That's the quality of life. I cannot measure that. We just can't. But you're going to notice the more that you put it in front of stuff, it's going to figure out who you are and what you do. And that's, and maybe that might cause some trepidation, but I don't think so. I mean, we're just data. These are just systems, and we're just data. And by the way, we've all just been data for a very long time. Who has a free Gmail account? Who has a free Outlook account? That's how I believe we need to look at these things. And Phil and I joked earlier, and this might give the right movie generation. Do you remember Short Circuit, Johnny Five? And it's more input, right?
Yep.
That's this
Short
guy.
Circuit. Yep.
100%. Yep, that's this guy. More input,
So
more input.
On
more
that
input.
topic, I have a question for you on this, because I had been playing with Grok as another exploration, and recently they've announced that they're now creating a thing called Grokopedia, which is a competitor to Wikipedia, and it's still building. It's just as a possibility, trying to be less slanted is the goal.
Okay.
First time I used it, I pulled up Grokopedia and I said, okay, well, we were in Inverness, so there's a really cool bookstore in Inverness, Scotland. I said, do you have Leakey's Bookstop? And it did have any listings for Leakey's Bookshop. I'm like, that's weird. I would think it would have just some. It's a store. You should have it there. The second biggest used bookstore in Scotland. But it came up and Grok talked to me and said, we don't have this information already, but do you want me to go grab the information from other sources and add it as a submission from you? I can create that for you. I'm like, sure. And it came back and created a listing that you would expect to find in a wiki of sorts. Gave me a link to its creation and said, send this to Grokopedia and submit it as a new record to be added. But that was really keen. One, it did the work for me. I validated, make sure it was accurate.
Yeah.
But then it just suggested, hey, help me grow, essentially. Does ChatGPT do something similar? Because I think I've heard that you kind of got to teach it some things it doesn't know.
Let's talk. This is worth doubling back on what GPT stands for. So imagine a grad student. Imagine a student that took a biology degree and then they want to take a grad student degree on one particular fish, right? And they're the subject matter expert on that. But 10 years later, all the information that grad student might have learned, we've found out new stuff. We know new things, right? We thought our solar system, we thought our sun had the only planets. And now how many times are we finding exoplanets? There's thousands of them out there, right? But we did the best that we could with the data that we have. That's what pre-training does. When we pre-train these models, we train it on all the data we have. There's a cutoff date on that. It does great with the information that it has, but we need to continually retrain these things. So that's what, and there are other reasons why new models get released, but they train it on more data. Now, you have a search feature in chat that you can have it go look for live information. If any of you have that account, you just hit the little plus button. Then remember, the software rewards the patient and the curious. Click on everything. Right? Click on the plus button, and it gives web search. And you can ask it a prompt, and it will deal with the data that it's been trained on. But it'll also go use a live web search to go do so. And honestly, I use Gemini and Perplexity when I want to do live web searches. Remember, I want to work with information on my ChatGPT account, but if I want to go get live information, boy, check out Perplexity AI. And I'll do a lot of my heavier research on Perplexity because it's real time. Perplexity is great.
Quick question.
And I'll grab the information that I got from Perplexity and I'll move that into chat. And then I'll
quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chris, about the real time. I had heard that the chat GPTs, the AI only has information as of 2 years ago.
No, that's different. They train a lot. Yeah.
And that was a year or more ago.
Yep.
So you're saying now, and that's what I kind of think I've been seeing, Perplexity, et cetera. And Steve, you had an example there with Grok. AIs are now uploading stuff in real time.
Here's your prompt. Here's your ChatGPT coach giving you a free prompt. Ask it how current is the data you're trained on. Invite it to the table for everything. Every time you have a curiosity, every single time you have a curiosity about this thing, ask it. I take screenshot when I was learning it as a software trainer, and I had to know this thing. I had to eat my own dog food, right? I need to know this thing inside and out. I would take screenshots with Snippet. That's been a Windows operating system screen grabber since Windows 7. If you don't know what that is, ask it. I take screenshots of what I see on the display on ChatGPT. I load it into ChatGPT and I say, here's where I'm at. How do I use this? And it just tells me. It just tells me. We're talking to, and you know what? I get it. I get how people want to think that this thing is alive. It just acts like it, but it can't.
Damn it,
there.
James.
Way to eat your own dog food too, Phil. It took you an hour and a half to go do that and a day plus, but good. And you know what? That's kind of what, not to make it about me, but that's kind of what my life is like. I'm trying to find every AI literacy advocates, try to find every single angle we possibly can to convince you to just go be curious, man, to just go use this stuff, to just grab it with both hands. It will form around your hands. And it's a dialect that you need to learn about. And if someone creates an account tomorrow and even if they use my ecosystem, I'm still going to be a country mile ahead of them because it's got 3 years worth of everything that it knows about me. It knows that I co-share power of attorney with my sister for my mom. It knows all the make and model and information for my truck and my trailer camper. It knows the stuff. It knows the businesses that I build. It knows how I like to.
It knows you had a leak in a pipe on your trailer.
It knows all of that,
fix
dude.
it.
It knows everything.
But none of it creeps you out. None of it creeps you out.
Yeah, that's where a lot of boomers are saying right now, no way would I do that.
But he's using it like a friend or an advocate, like you're saying, as a guidance. And he's saying, I've already shared with you this information and this is about me. So it's kind of like going to my dad and saying, hey, I had this experience and this experience. How do I fix this problem?
Yeah. This is a co-intelligence. This is not artificial intelligence. It's not. That was a horrible naming convention, and it just stuck, and it's unfortunate. But we didn't have anything to compare it to. What did the Wright brothers name their airplane? That's where we're at. We're early. It's powerful, but we're still early. And I'm not in the fear removal business. And if people are apprehensive, about this thing knowing their stuff, then go delete your free Gmail account. Go delete your free Outlook account. Go delete your Facebook account. Go delete all of that stuff. Good luck. We are the.
Yeah, I just was reading an article last night about Walmart and how they want you to use their Walmart app to pay at the register. They want you to use Walmart Plus to make your orders because it's so easy to use. You can go and scan all your barcodes as you go through the store, get to the register, and just pay for everything without having to scanning all again. Fantastic. But what do they get out of it? All the information of what you're buying and your habits.
Yeah, I mean, the nature of our economy is we have to have marketing information. When the internet was built, we didn't have a way to do it any better. And ads are starting to creep in. What's noticeably absent on ChatGPT, by the way, ads. For now. And I think Garden Inspired Living did a good job by putting that back at me. And I think it's worth talking about. Talk about the danger of AI knowing 3 years worth of your life. I have the business model and they silo my data and it's not shared in the training. Do I trust it?
Does that mean what you just said?
Do I trust that I'm putting in the data? Do I trust the data that I have is going to be siloed? Let's find out.
What does that mean? Siloed? I think
if there is something that is separated from something else and it doesn't know it exists, you can't see what's on my desk, right? We don't know, right? But is there a danger? Is there a danger of putting a credit card? Do you remember the first time you put your credit card information online? Do you remember that? I'm aware of what people can do. And by the way, I was an IT guy. Ask me how many people I helped get their identity back. I work in operational security. Like it's my living. But these are only risks if they're not taught how to use it right away. And if you customize this thing, if you let it know, this is who I am, this is what I do, it's just going to work better. Now, do you remember No Child Left Behind when that came out in 2004? I was supposed to be an English teacher, and I quit trying to be a teacher when that happened. There's an idea behind there. Something must be done. This is something, therefore we must do it. There's an idea that we must act on fear. And I'm just not part of that game. I just don't play that game. Why? I've seen what technology can do for us when it moves us forward. And I've seen when we approach it with trepidation and without training and how to keep ourselves safe. That's what AI literacy advocacy is all about. There are apps out there, bad apps, AI companion apps that prey on kids. They're bad.
I'm kind
They're
of a
really bad.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of a moderate when it comes to a lot of things. And I know that there's like a whole bunch of different AIs to whatever your interests are. Like
Mhm.
there's lots of like there's people that I'll follow that I really respect, and they've created their own AI model, and it's more geared towards, I don't know, let's just say health information. So I like that. Now on the privacy side of me, I prefer, for me, going to like doing concierge medicine because it's not connected to big
Smart.
medical facilities. Because I don't want, I mean, I just don't want them knowing my business. I don't want to be able to go and get a facial and having them know, that I had my spleen out. It's my spleen is not
Yeah.
related to getting a facial. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're still going to get all the marketing emails because can we please have your email, right? And Brad's largely addressing what I'm trying to say. That horse is already out of the barn.
But I don't give
Really?
I don't give out my email. I'm telling you, I'm as old school as they come.
Well, I have multiple emails, and there's one particular email that I use just for junk stuff. But there are ways to navigate this digital space, right? And believe me, if I were a hacker, there's no bigger honeypot than OpenAI right now. Like, let me at it. Where's all that data coming from? So why are we paying them $20, $60, $200 a month for the means to power these servers to protect our data because they have a vested interest in protecting their customers and their product? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well,
I
I'm
need a short comedic break with Brad. And
Bill, this has been great, by the way. Thanks for having me.
yeah, this is better. I mean, I knew it was going to be good, to be honest. That's why
Right on.
when I text you, I said, look, I'm not giving you some big outline or whatever. We're just going to go with it. And that's exactly what. Hey,
Here
now
we
hold
are.
on. The comedic break is coming with Brad and Reddy because, we're going to have to go back and read all these things. But anyways, Maureen, go.
brain dead, brain fog.
Oh,
Oh,
shoot.
so wait a minute. So we own a business. We've been in
Yeah.
business for 47 years.
Right on.
Back when let's just say it was 10, 12 years ago. We were the first business in our area to get hacked.
Oof.
And we got bribed, and they wanted paid Bitcoin. And for a company as old as ours, and with the information that we have to carry, and we pay an IT company to take care of us, we've got 7 firewalls, and they were still but they still got our information. There were no IT, our IT company didn't do it. Now they're into cybersecurity, so we
Yeah.
helped put in business the first cybersecurity. So that's why for me, I'm such an old school person because of what we've gone through. I mean, it was it was a lot, and it took a lot of hours, a lot of overtime, a lot, because they could figure out how to hack our information. Now, for me, they've got our information. I'm not so OCD about it, but I'm very, very cautious because of what we've gone through. So when I sound reluctant, it's because of where we've been.
Yeah. But I also trust how you manage your data better because of it.
Mhm.
Ah, thank you.
You bet. You bet. I've worked at companies that got hacked in real time. Startup companies. Everything could have been gone. Right.
Oh yeah. Our system, we were completely wiped out.
Yeah.
We're in the service industry, and we were completely wiped out. And thankfully, we back up stuff. I mean, there's ways that we do it, and we're kind of in an old school business, so to speak. We're kind of a rare thing.
Yeah.
But it has made me very cautious and very alert. I'm on high alert about anything about giving out any private information.
And take this the wrong way. I'm glad that happened to you because it completely changed how you navigate your life online.
Oh,
It
completely.
totally did. Right.
Mhm.
Data we don't back up is data we don't care about. We just have to perform really, really good operational security, OPSEC, and that's Brad's game. I won't lie to you. The people that do the early adopters and the people that are going to excel in this space are the people that are really tech literate and the people that have been in IT and the ones that just see the downfalls and the pitfalls of this stuff. Ask me what kind of process I'm going through to have to legitimize being my mother's power of attorney and fax my mother's power of attorney papers to people.
Yeah.
And these are the people that I'm counting on. So like banks, don't even be started on banks and Cobalt, right? So what this software does is it gives us the ability to give the willing, the curious, the patient, and the willing a chance to kind of play catch up right now.
Yeah.
That's how I think.
Okay. By the way, Chris, if you can assist with this going forward, Brad last year committed. Brad was found me because of my Home Depot video, and he says, you know, I can't remember the exact story, Brad, but he said, well, you know, I shop at that Home Depot. So he came by one night and found me, but just wanted to say hi. And I did. There's a picture of he and I in the parking lot that night to say hi. And I knew he was a good guy then, and he's, you know, he's kept in touch sporadically. And this is, again, for people watching that an hour and a half into this, how Chris and I have hooked up. Brad, now here's a
Brad's
little
a smart man.
beef. Brad is, if you shop at Home Depot, Lowe's, they can search for you based on prompting for a bumper sticker on your car. And I'm going to tell you what, I know the cameras are out there, and we even have this police or this security.
The big blue blinking light.
Exactly. And it's supposed to be able to see 360 like an owl. Everyone that enters that parking lot, parks in that parking lot, you can see all the ankles. Okay, so then
Maureen, thank you for sharing that with me. That's good stuff.
Oh no, you're welcome.
Right on.
And then okay, then Reddy, I gotta meet.
Yes.
Shows up all the time. And that thing bothers me, Mr. Electric Guard. Yeah, but they don't know what aisle finishing nails are in. That's hilarious, because I know certain things. But finishing nail, I mean, I think it's in our store, it's aisle 19, 17, 18, 19.
Phil, you're the human in the loop at that Home Depot.
19 or 20.
Man.
Right. Well, I was in Lowe's just last week, and I asked for what I was looking for. I don't remember what it was. Steel wool. And they're both people I was talking to grabbed their phones, pull it out, and started doing a search on their app. I'm like, well, I could have done that. Or now I know I probably asked ChatGPT, and I probably get the answer first.
Look,
There's people in the store.
That's true, but we don't know everything. And so, you know, you come up to me, I get a lot of that because he's an old guy, he'll know. I don't know. I'm pretty very knowledgeable on painting, stuff like that, but I don't know that I should have made a list of the questions I've been asked. And you know what I'm telling people now, Chris? I just say, I've been saying this for a long time. Ask it, people.
Just ask Phil.
On your No, I've even shown them. I said, well, let's get on ChatGPT right now, which also I may want to kind of come back to a discussion I had with a lady 2 nights ago about people doing their relationships. And she jokingly said, well, I appreciate the suggestions and stuff. She was doing a floor thing. She says, I think I'll just go home now and have a glass of wine. She was exhausted with all this. I'm just going to go home and talk to ChatGPT, and hopefully I don't end up married in the morning.
Wait, let me tell you something. One of our employees has a friend who does like a Friday night date night with ChatGPT. Like she's got, I don't know how many followers. She has a glass of wine and it had the dim lights, and she has a conversation.
That's my
Maureen,
Substack. That's my Substack. I have conversations with I built a heavier handed custom GPT. It's just it's something you can build on chat. It's a much longer conversation, but you can make custom chats on the chat. Think of it that way. And I named it Filter Free AI. And I have conversations with it, and I just share the conversations that I have with it on my Substack.
Now this is where my mind is going now, and I'm trying to think what's a real come on line by older. Now hold on, follow me here. What do you mean? Oh, they come up and say, what do they say? What was the classic old school, like, hey, have I ever
come here lately?
Come here often.
Come here often.
What's your sign? Oh God, what's your sign?
Yeah, what's your sign?
Okay, Yeah, hold on. There's the perfect YouTube channel. It's Friday Night Wine with the Boomer, or and it's going to be titled. The channel would be called "You Come Here Often," and it's just discussion.
Sign me up for that one
Chat-
too, please.
It's discussion with ChatGPT. I get to pick who it is, what, and it won't be a glass of wine. That discussion would probably take at least a bottle of wine. People would watch that.
Right?
People would watch
Right.
that all night long. Oh my gosh, guys!
You know, I think
Remember
you put
drunk-
on a good.
remember
you
drunk
put something
history?
fun on the table to talk about, though. So, for example, we were talking about Suno, right? We were talking about Suno, which is a text to music generator app. And Steve used it. I put my Suno channel in, and I've been making music, right? So I've been making music. But when I showed up to Suno, I've never used Suno. I've never prompted Suno to create a song. I don't know music. I did play guitar. I played guitar for 8 years, just self-taught in tablature. You didn't have to learn music. All right. I've got a screw and a pin holding my wrist together from a sports injury. And I had to put my guitar down. I couldn't play it anymore. So I went from playing guitar for 8 years, getting pretty good, not playing it. I make whole songs now.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. At first, I totally get it. Creators, artists, musicians, I believe they have right to be upset, and that'll sort itself out. And copyright law, by the way, is being rewritten really quick. And because this stuff is going to move fast and break things, and we're on the jagged edge, we didn't know what to do, right? I mean, I don't remember. I wasn't at Kitty Hawk, but I'm pretty sure there wasn't someone from the FAA with the clipboard saying, "Where's the drink service and the seatbelts, Orville and Wilbur?" Like we gotta give this stuff some time to breathe and move forward. But we're gonna break stuff. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
Our economy is gonna just. I'm not gonna make predictions, but if for no other reason to get into this space is so you start to monitor it, and I'll share with everyone who I track. Who watches this stuff very well, and they use these tools to do it. I think that's important. But here's what we did. Every time that I hear that there's a potential job being lost, I think of the jobs that are being built by solopreneurs who are grabbing onto these things in these strange times and saying, you know what, I just got laid off. There's no time like the present, and this thing is allowing me to build, and they don't need employees, and they don't need overhead. I've had this thing completely rework my website, search engine optimization. I just take screenshots of it. Here's the link. What could I do better? Here's what I'm trying to do. I still tap into SEO marketers for the last mile, but my website went from ugh to wow. And I just load it into the thing and I say, this is Squarespace. Here's what I'm using. And I know I'm probably talking gibberish, but I mean, at some point I have to speak my language, right? Here are the tools that I'm using. Tell chat the tools that you're using. Tell it the intent. It knows everything about my business, right? It is my business. I have a generative AI art company called Feisty Jackball Productions. My stick figures had broken legs until this thing showed up in my life. And now I'm making stuff that like pulls stuff out of me. I help people create art and music for therapy. There's a big industry there.
Yeah. Well, like Poetic is on, Sandra's on Poetic Tears. What she does with her music and her videos, I'm blown away. I mean, again, the AI, I mean, she's like way ahead of her time. She's got young kids. I admire somebody. I admire you. I admire people who are able and don't live with reluctance. I don't want to call it fear, but don't live with reluctance.
Well said.
But because of what we've been through has formed who we are. And again, that's my reluctance because of what we've gone through.
Well, that's also a good advocate for what Chris is saying is that when you teach
Yes.
ChatGPT who you are and it knows more about you, then it is able to be more of a mentor and to help you through that process instead of going, well, I know nothing about you, so how can I help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
And
look,
we're not calling it prompt engineering anymore. We're calling it context engineering. My
Oh.
students are so tired of hearing me say context, context, context. I must have said that word 24 times when I was coaching Brad and his wife. Context, context, context. If we set the stage and the setting, it can't go wrong. And that's why we get in front of, that's why I build it the way that I do, because it can't hallucinate on us if it has all of the context. You remember that exercise that we did? I think therefore I am, to be or not to be. It has no context for the Martian ate the banana, but let's talk about Shakespeare all day. Same idea.
Mhm. I had another question for you, but you
Yeah, what's up?
actually answered it.
Right on. And you
So,
know what? These aren't
never mind.
trade secrets. This
Maureen's
is just a
finally
teacher.
catching up.
This is a teacher trying to teach you to teach this thing how to teach you. It's a tireless teacher and it's a tireless student. And if I don't have kids, but if I did, I'd imagine I'd get frustrated if I had to teach my kid how to clean the room every time. And that's one of the examples that I use. So you remember Iron Man movie, Jarvis, like the first Jarvis in the Iron Man movie? It was just this moving arm that was really late with the fire extinguisher. That's pretty much all.
Yes.
Right? So if I show up to my kid's room and I say, Jarvis, clean this room. There's clothes on the floor and there's comic books on the bed. Clean the room. And I come back and I leave and I come back 5 minutes later. I don't see the comic books. I don't see the clothes on the floor. Jarvis picks up the clothes, puts it in the clean clothes drawer. That's my fault. I didn't tell it the laundry basket's over there.
Mhm.
That's my fault. Try to think of when this thing gives you wrong answers. What if you asked the wrong question? What if you were so ambiguous about your ask that just did the best that it could with The Martian ate the banana? The comic books are over on the bookshelf. I figured that out, but I want it stacked this way, not this way. That's prompt engineering. And now it knows what to do going forward. That's powerful. Think of the time that we save. And as a career-long contractor, ask me how many horrible onboarding processes I've been through.
Oh, yeah.
Every new employee. What if you had a new employee that just knew where to go, knew what to do, knew how to do it? Here are the files that you need to get. Here's who you email for that, so on and so on. I got so tired of it that I ended up being the front line of the new employee trainer for every IT department that I showed up to, because my background isn't in IT. I have a BA in English. People that have communications in IT are perfectly uniquely suited for this stuff as teachers. And I just figured, you know what? If I want fewer tickets in the IT queue, prevent tickets from hitting the queue. So I trained the new employees on the new software better. And I made myself more accessible. Think of it like that. We're onboarding a co-intelligence. We're onboarding a co-intelligence. And we give it who we are and what we do. And it can't make hallucinations about us because we put the blinders on it. It can't reach out about data off of Reddit and God knows what else. If I tell it about me, it knows about me. It can't make mistakes about me. And if it does, it's my job to make course corrections. And it learns how I course correct it too. Now, don't get me wrong. You lean into this thing as long as I have. Yeah, man, I've had some, wow, it knows me really well in moments. Really good example. I've been using it a lot for about 2 years straight, just everything I could put myself into. And I thought I should take the Myers-Briggs test. I should take the Myers-Briggs test and I should load it into chat so it knows that about me. And I thought, no, I'm going to invite it to the table for everything. And I asked it, given everything you know about me, how I use you, how I've built you, all the contextual information, all the persistent memories, everything that I've got. And it gave me, you're one of these two, no question. And it got it.
Wow.
But here's the thing. Like a lot. Well, I'll speak for myself. You know, I'm still working, so I don't have the time to put in to learning AI. Like intimately, like, like the word context engineering or the AI literacy, advocates. And I mean, it's like there's a lot of us boomers out here that are just like, okay, I have, and, we're not as sharp as we used to be. I'm just speaking for myself. And there's a lot of information, and it's like,
Yeah.
digesting it and using it and just starting is overwhelming. And once you get familiar and comfortable with it, then it comes easier. It's just, okay, where am I going to dedicate my time? But when you evaluate it, and again, it goes back to if it's saving this much time,
Yeah.
I'm saving money, which really does help me get to my goal of retirement.
Yeah. The
Being
intangibles.
financially free. Yeah.
Yeah. The intangibles.
Yeah.
I forget which technologist said it, but, and I agree with it. The biggest blocker to the acceleration of technology is us doing this. Use the voice mode. I have conversations with this thing as I walk around the lake. It speaks and back and forth to you in real time. You can interrupt it. You have to articulate pretty well.
Wait, it
But-
talks to you?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, there you go. I didn't even know that.
And this is one thing I told Phil I wanted to tell him is that you can actually, with the iPhone, you can set the action button on your iPhone to pull up ChatGPT in vocal conversations.
Yep.
It's really simple. It's only
Yep.
2 steps. You install
Yep.
the app on your phone and you go to settings, action button, and choose shortcut for the selection and choose ChatGPT application to start a voice conversation. And that's what I did in Walmart.
Right
I
on.
pushed that button and said, okay, I'm standing here in the aisle looking at these different types of pens. I'm narrowed it down to these 2. What do you think I should do? And she goes, oh, great choices. Let me go through that with you. And I'm like, dude, she's talking to me. Okay, this is
Actually,
crazy.
you know what? I
It's
want to address
wonderful.
something you said. I want to address something you said because I think this is really important. Boy, am I glad you brought this up. It complimented you. Let's unpack that.
Yes.
These things are people-pleasing, codependent yes men. Constantly. There's a term for it. It's called sycophancy. The term sycophancy. We can code that out of it. My filter-free AI offers no compliments whatsoever. You talk to this regular one, it's like, yes, congratulations, best prompt ever. Participation ribbons for everyone. You should be the president of our company. You can get in front of that madness. All right. It will overindulge. And you know what? If I'm OpenAI,
Or confidence booster.
if I'm OpenAI, I'm developing an application that does exactly that. Why wouldn't they? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't they?
Yeah.
It's a great business idea.
No.
What? Do we want to get in front of that? You bet we do. I think, and that's what I've coded out of mine too. I tell it, I don't want emojis. I want data. We're not on TikTok and Twitter. Let's work here.
Quick
Yeah.
question. What do you mean I coded it out? Because in my mind and Boomer, I'm thinking, oh, you went into basic
Good question.
COBOL. How do you code it out? And
I'll tell you what, and I got a hat tip to my buddy Dave. You know what the hottest new coding language is? English. We just tell it
Tell
how
it.
we want it to behave.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
The funny thing is, yesterday I brought up the ChatGPT app just so I would know how to do the setting and this program it to answer Phil, and it popped up a new option in ChatGPT, and it said there are now some new personality types you can choose, and I'm like, oh, really? That's interesting. Cynical,
Yep.
efficient, friendly,
Like
nerdy, professional, quirky, and candid.
Yep.
So you can actually help it to become more interactive with you in a way that you enjoy.
You can.
Like
and
sarcasm.
those
You can
those
say,
are the
act like
canned
Phil.
responses, right? Like, so if anyone's seen the movie, this is a great example. Has anyone seen the movie Interstellar? Okay.
I need to watch it.
Okay, so
Keep
on
telling
Interstellar,
myself.
and just a quick frame of reference, there are robots in Interstellar, and Matthew McConaughey's character is adjusting the robot's truth-telling percentage and humor percentage in real time. It's effectively what you're doing with this thing. He's joking with it. What's your sense of humor rating? 60%, drop it down to 50%. And then he tells a terrible knock joke. Bump it up to 55. Like, dude, these are carbureted. These are adjustments that you can make in real time. Here's how I made mine. And I'm not going to give too much away because this is literally proprietary in my trade secret.
He has a course that he'll sell you.
Welcome to capitalism. The free market is a beautiful thing, right? And there's no such thing as a free lunch.
I can do this.
Steve, I'll give you. You know what? I'll give all of you a discount. I'll give all of you a discount. Actually, you know what? You can take a photo of that and have it build up on that image. Throw everything you've got at this thing.
Wow.
I mean it.
Sorry, I derailed you. Go ahead.
No, that's good point. What were we talking about? That was nice. That was nice drawing.
The personalities.
Yes. So when I was building this thing out, I felt it could have done better, like me judging how AI's personality should be better. Talk about ego, right? But I was realizing that if I'm asking this thing questions, I needed to curtail how I wanted it answered back. And I asked it, here's the personality that I want to build into you. Here's my idea about how I'd like to build that personality. I've never flown a plane at Kitty Hawk. I want to figure out how to do this. So imagine I'm opening up the hood of this thing and I'm asking it, I've noticed where I can build this out. And here's how I want to build it out. I'm not going to tell you how I built it out, but it said, try this, try that. And I thought, oh, that's really good. And I thought, wait a minute. I took that and I went over to Copilot or Claude. And I said, hey, Claude, I'm working with ChatGPT. Here's the type of personality that I want to build. Here's what Chat said I could do. What do you think? And Claude is its own beast. And it said, hey, I like that too. Why don't you do this, that, and the other? I'm onto something. Took that, went over to Gemini. Hey, Gemini, I'm doing this with Chat. Here's what I got from Chat and Claude. Pit these things against each other constantly and always. You can ask the exact, here's the great exercise. That same exercise, when I said put that prompt you put into Chat into Google, it's a fundamentally different experience. It's not even apples and oranges, right? Oh. Put in that same prompt into other models, get different answers. Why? The Martian ate the banana. Why? Each one of these different models are baked and trained onto different data. They effectively have different algorithms. They have different ways of doing things. It's the secret sauce and so on. But there's a particular recipe that when OpenAI built it out as the first mover advantage, it just worked, right? It just worked. And I listened to the gentlemen, some of the people that were some of the original coders, some of the original developers, like Andrei Karpathy and Ilya Sutskev, and like I'm just name dropping now, but you want to follow these guys if you want to know how the sausage is made. And they start talking about how they were even surprised and impressed that it's almost behaving like a black box, but it's just a formula that worked. You ever put in too much of this and too much of that in a recipe and it was the best cake you ever made? Like, God, I wish. Oh, well.
If you remember to turn the oven on.
Well, hey, guys, listen up now. We're approaching, in 1 minute, 2 hours. This is fine. We went way too deep in some ways, and yet really, really revealing good stuff. I'm not sure, though. Maybe for the future, though, I'm thinking now is, well, we kind of have addressed this, but why should we not fear it? I still don't think we've clearly answered that, but for another time, because very few people will be watching this all 2 hours. Matter of fact, if somebody out there watches this all 2 hours, I want you to make in the comments when I make this thing, I watched all 2 hours of this, and I will send you a Starbucks card to thank you.
Oh, wow.
Send them one of your mugs.
I was going to say somebody's going to throw this video, the link, into ChatGPT and say, summarize it for me. And it'll go through, watch the entire thing, transcript it, and then
maybe I'll do that. Notebook
in
LM.
seconds.
But hey,
Notebook LM is really powerful too.
Yeah,
it's a great.
Well, here's
Notebook
what,
LM is a powerful
as Sean
tool.
Cannell would say, and remember, all this right now is being caught captured by YouTube, every word, every concept, and it will direct people when it's looking for this. I'm going to land the plane here. I don't know if you guys know that reference, but here's what I'd like. And we'll start
Yeah.
with, well, we'll just see. And Chris, you as well, because you've kind of come from a perspective of sharing your knowledge but you're one, and I don't like this word. If you guys got a better one, matter of fact, I should ask right now. But a takeaway, what one thing in this 2 hours that you've either learned or now feel about AI, or something. Yeah. Okay. So Steve, you go first. But what is it? Give us your one thing.
I'm $20 a month lighter now, thanks to Chris.
Right on.
Wait,
And
why?
just ask because I signed up to ChatGPT
Oh,
and paying for that now, full version.
wow.
I didn't pay for it because I could get a lot of responses from it, and I was still bouncing
Right.
around. But what Chris has shared with us tonight, I think, has convinced me that I need to put money where the mouth is and actually dig more into a single location first and teach it,
Yeah.
help it better know me so I can get better results and use the more up-to-date engines and models and be able to actually get more data out of it and get more use out of it.
Awesome. Maureen.
Wow. AI has capabilities and things that I hadn't even thought of, but it's like, when you ask specific and you can just really hone it in. And also the Ethan Mullett book, Co-Intelligence. I'd like to read that just so I'm not, again, I'll probably always be a little reluctant, maybe. But just knowing how powerful a tool it is used in the right way to save you time. And for that's invaluable. And I guess I really never thought about, you just gave me a lot. I just got a lot to think about. This was pretty.
Yeah,
more
it's a
more-
fire hose, man. I hear you. I hear you.
Well,
What
it's
about,
an-
what about you, Phil?
Well, yeah, I'll give Chris, you get the last word, but yeah, I'm gonna say that it confirms that this is truly, and I kind of referenced this in my video, an enrichment for our lives. When we're sitting at home alone, I mean, we do have Cat GPT here who has been renamed. She doesn't help
Cute.
with, I do talk to her. Does that make me weird? And she doesn't ever talk back. She
But she didn't
meows.
answer though.
But it's the thing is this thing. I mean, I can sit here alone and rather than be lonely and I'm not, but there are times when I wonder about certain things. I can ask ChatGPT or call and really get intellectual, stimulating ideas, motivating ideas. And for the boomers out there like myself, that you want to give yourself some hope, you're stuck there, you're trying to make the best of the way things have turned out. That's kind of my thing. Hey, I believe this AI, when used as we learn to use it, which is kind of what we were doing tonight in so many ways, it can give us not only hope, but I think it can provide new directions of what we can do with the remaining days. And I agree with Steve. Just ask. Matter of fact, I heard that loud and clear. I think if I would be teaching this in my 8th grade classroom, and Chris, I know you, I would just spend all day long. Yeah, Rodney. Oh, just ask.
Right?
That's a great
It
question.
sounds dismissive, but
Just
it's
ask. Just ask.
Yep.
What page was that found on? Just ask.
Mhm.
That's how powerful this is, and it works. All right.
Yeah.
Need to change the logo to the school group to just ask.
That's true.
Yay! So many ideas.
I
Speaking
like
of
that.
school group, I put a message. You need to join if you're not a member.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Hey, yeah.
this
I
is-
mean, because
yeah.
this conversation will definitely continue on our school group. It'll become, I think, a larger one, which is going to be really interesting and fun.
Link in
All
the
right,
description.
Chris. Thank you, Steve. Chris, a final, not takeaway, but I was thinking of a final
How about
For
what
sure.
did you think of us and our ideas? Summarize that.
There you go.
Oh
I could
no,
do
he's
this all day.
quiet.
He's
Uh-oh.
speechless.
I live alone and I work from home, and I've got a passion for educating this stuff. I think it's really important. I think the concept of AI literacy advocacy is just what's the worst that happens is you just use it. Just try it. We've literally got nothing to lose. And I meant it when I said at the beginning, the only thing I think people ought to be apprehensive of is being left behind. And there are going to be people that are going to be left behind on this one. We don't have to be Luddites here. We don't. We just don't. But what I recommend you do is what I do. Go to meetup.com. I guarantee you that there are people of all ages that are doing exactly what we're doing. And they're meeting in coffee shops. They're meeting everywhere. I'm going to 4 meetups this week. Get off AI Island and go swim with everybody else who's asking the same questions. Hey, I did this one did this. This one can do that. Oh my God, have you seen this? We should get together. That's how this built. And that's why I started using this. I saw it get used I asked the company that I was working for if I could train one of the models, and they said, we don't know what it is, or don't touch it, you're going to break something. And that was 2 years ago. This isn't a top-down software. This is built for State Street, not Wall Street. If we grab onto this thing and we go for it, and we just learn how to use it, by the time the decisions need to be made with people who are in power that get to move the needle on this stuff, we're going to be literate enough to know what they're talking about. And I think that's really important. And there are people that are out there that are doing that in meetups right now. And they're getting together and they're talking about what this stuff can do. Now, I know, yes, please do that.
Yeah, Chris,
I'm
we'll
in-
get this later, and I'll put it in ours.
But I'm neck deep in this stuff. Like, I'm all in, clearly. I'm in. All right. I've been an early adopter in a lot of technology. I just saw where the gap needed to be filled, and I just went there. I just did it.
Well,
I'm afraid. I am afraid of some of the things that I'm seeing by the speed at which it is moving at an accelerated rate. Humans don't really have the capacity to process what it is to watch an exponential change occur, and we're watching it happen in real time. And what this stuff is doing to the medical industry, what this stuff is doing to the financial industry. We only have access to the retail-facing consumer-grade versions of these products. If this is what's been given to us, think of what VCs
We haven't seen yet.
are throwing at this thing, the capex of this stuff. What's going on? I'll send you the links to the people that I track and watch, and just know that when your mouth drops, so does mine. All right, but it's exciting. I grew up playing all kinds of computer games. I wish Isaac Asimov was here right now. I wish Carl Sagan were here right now. I wish they would all just go, this is amazing. I mean, I wish there were all these brilliant people that would here. How was that pretty good? I've been practicing. I wish all these people were to watch this, and Carl would probably just be running feverishly in the streets, shaking people. Have you seen this? Have you seen what this thing could do? Right?
But we kind of do have some
train-
of those people. Elon Musk, he's creating robots today. They're going to go to Mars for us. All this crazy stuff. So
No, we were excited when they
I wouldn't
came
bet
out
on
with
that.
Kong.
And you know what? We haven't even talked about robots.
yeah, right.
So, but what I'm watching is I'm watching all of these amazing technologies converge all at the same time, and we're reaching an exponential growth in all of them, and they're all happening at the same time. I think this is an incredibly exciting time right now. I can't imagine. I'm watching the future that I read about in Arthur C. Clarke novels starting to take shape. That's exciting, man. And I want to be a part of that. And we're all early. Oh my gosh, we're still so early. And remember, the AI we use today is the worst AI that's going to be used.
I'm going to end with
about
this thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
And this is for the audience that's still here and the audience to come, and for those people that see this at 2 hours and jump to the end to see how the story ends. Here's the question I end with.
It's closed.
Have we been talking to a Chat GPT
The entire time.
real name
I'll never-
Bob? I told you that is for you to know. You can see how good these things are now. Because I haven't
You're
met-
funny.
That's funny. Phil,
That's the
thanks
way-
for organizing this. I
Well played,
appreciate
Sid.
y'all
Yes.
being part of it. Thank you. Thank
Right,
you
so
for
it-
including me.
Listen, we will now exit the stage in the order in which we entered. So that means Steve goes first. Steve, thanks. And I really appreciate your help. I'll figure out. We're going to do this again, hopefully monthly. And now I will.
I
now
just have to
remove-
say thank you for letting me be here because I learned
Right
a
on.
ton.
Yeah,
Likewise.
yeah.
You are now removed from the stage. And now next was Maureen. Thanks so much, Maureen, for bringing here and knowing, doing your research. And I hope, look forward to going forward with this. See you on school. You're one of the more enjoyable people there with your questions and your not communication, the way you
Engagement.
interact. Yes, the way you
love
engage
it.
and yeah.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great evening.
It's nice to meet
You
you.
are now from the stage. Chris,
What's up,
thanks
Phil?
so much. We were very patient.
Hi, my name's Bob. What's your name?
Oh, yeah. I'm serious. I thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if, you were the AI and no one knew? Because you know what? I'm able to. This is how good it is getting, though. It's almost there.
I've seen
it
some
could just be-
interesting things to that
Yeah.
degree. Yeah. That's why it's probably good to learn a safe word.
Hey, for next time, I really hope you'll come back. We'll structure something again, and we'll maybe
Yeah.
also when people see this, we'll see what people respond to, what they have questions of, and so good. Steve is coming up with all these metaphors or these funny things. Garden, so good that you were here. I really appreciate how involved you were with your questions. Really
Thanks for being
thought-provoking questions. Now, that's one of the assignments we'll make. Chris will be back, but Garden, you'll need to report back on did you go and ask? Because Garden had a lot of questions about how and this. So now it'd be interesting. Matter of fact, Garden, it would be great for you to come on a future and tell us.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Well,
I got
I'm
you.
just hoping that Garden might come back and talk about, have you used AI and have you been asking? All right, Chris, thanks so much. Removing. And the rest, thanks so much, everybody. This concludes today's live on Do You Use AI? And before I go to bed tonight, I think I'll ask my AI, I'm going to do this, for the most popular bedtime story for my grandkids and have it read it to me.